Yo, what's going on? Welcome back. It's your favorite rapper's favorite podcast, and welcome to Rapology. I'm your host, Maurice.
That's your girl, DJ Sai City.
All right. So what's going on with you, Si? How you doing?
We doing good. I feel like it's been a minute since we last spoke. I know we missed last week, so
Yeah,
definitely got a
exactly.
lot to catch up on,
A lot to catch up on.
definitely. But no, it's been a good week. It's been a productive week for sure. But I'm ready to talk about, some hip hop today.
Ready to talk about some hip hop. That's what's going on. Hey, yo, I feel you. But yeah, today is episode number 5. So, we want to hop right up into it. You see the title. Basically, we want to come to you guys and talk about hip hop's obsession with legacy. Like, the GOAT debate. Like, why are we so obsessed with the GOAT? Like, who's the greatest and everything like that. I don't think nothing is wrong with it per se, but I just thought it was a great topic that we should cover as far as like hip hop. Cause I think we, as hip hop fans, we talk about this topic so much. Like we have debates on this online in the barbershops or wherever, with your friends and with coworkers or whoever, who's the greatest of all time. And I just noticed that I don't see that a lot from other genres of music. So I just wanted to talk about why, as hip hop heads and hip hop fans, why are we so obsessed with GOAT talk? What's your take on that?
Definitely. So as I was pondering this question, I feel like, all right, so y'all know I get real deep, real technical with it, right? So I'm thinking about this, and for me, I think we're supposed to be competitive in hip hop. I think that the reason the conversation is always in competitive nature because hip hop, at its core, is more of a sport than it is necessarily just a genre. And I think that that's what makes our genre so unique and just the culture is because we get to have those kind of barbershop conversations just like you have in sports about who's better and everybody, the fans kind of are alliance to who they love the most. And, I think that it's a healthy competition that exists at the fabric of like what hip hop is. Think about DJ battles, competitions, and rap hip hop pretty much started from that whole thing. But definitely I think it's rooted in like a competitive spirit. So when you have competitive, somebody gotta be number one. Somebody has to be, 1, 2, or 3 or whatever. Versus like R&B where it's more kumbaya or country where people work together all the time, different genres like that. But hey, hip hop is different. We see it in all the rap battle beefs or whatever. It's just a different type of genre. But yeah, I think it's supposed to be that way. I don't know. I can't see hip hop not being competitive. For me, anytime it gets competitive and that there is no, sparring, it gets boring. It's like, what, yeah. I don't know. That's just my take.
I feel you on that, but do you think it's important? Like, do you think like we get lost in too much of who's the GOAT? Like, cause it's all subjective. Everybody gonna have their own personal list. Somebody gonna say it's Jay, somebody gonna say it's Nas, Biggie, Tupac, Eminem, Drake, And my thing is like, do you think we pay too much attention to it? Like now, cause it's like, I believe it was like last week sometime, Billboard, I remember I was telling you about that, how they released a list of the top 25 hip hop artists of all time, female hip hop artists of all time. And, everybody, was just debating of it. And I was like, damn, you don't really see this in country music. You don't really see this in rock. I know they release like Rolling Stone will release a list every so often of the greatest rockers of all time and shit like that. It's like hip hop all the time. Like I said, it's the competitive nature of the sport of hip hop. And I was just thought it was funny that everybody was just disagreeing. Like Nicki Minaj was number 1. I think Missy Elliott number 2, Lauryn Hill number 3, Lil' Kim. But some dope female artists out there, and a lot of people just agreeing and disagreeing. So I'm like, yo, do we need that, or is it necessary? So you think it's absolutely necessary that we need those lists? We need those GOAT greatest of all time lists?
Yes. For hip hop, for like what this culture is.
Right.
Yeah. That is the nature of it. It's being braggadocious. It's being, you know what I'm saying that you're the best in lyrically sparring. Like how can you think about battle rap? Like it's at the core.
I agree with that. Yeah, Nokia, but Luther by Kendrick and SZA, that's got some steam. They just released the video just on Friday as well. Beautiful video, beautifully shot. And Nokia, Drake, he dropped his video for that project, that song a few weeks ago as well. So I think they both battling right now for number 1. Luther is number 1, been number 1 for like the last 7-8 weeks. So we're gonna see. And
Yeah.
Kendrick and SZA going out on tour starting next week, I think, the 19th.
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah, we're
Yes,
gonna see.
sir.
We're gonna
Excited for that.
yeah,
But
exactly.
in hip hop, first conversation in hip hop is, well, whose video was better?
I like
Well, first thing we're gonna do is compare the two and be like, you like
exactly.
Nokia better?
That's the basis of the conversation. Like, why we always in this comparing shit? Like, can we just enjoy for what it is? Like, why we always gotta compare? Why we so obsessed with who's the best? Why we so obsessed with the GOAT and all that? Like I said, outside of hip hop, the NBA, they have if you watch
Yeah.
those sports shows, Michael or LeBron, which one was great? They both were great during their moment in their time. You know what I'm saying? So you can't really. Some people gonna say LeBron, some people gonna say Jordan. Me, I'm gonna say Jordan all
It's the culture of hip hop, though, like debating and battling.
yeah. It's good. It's good for sports. Good for the podcast. It's good for TV. That's what people want to hear. You know, who's your top three? What's your greatest album? The greatest album of all time to me is Illmatic, but somebody else
Yeah.
might say is Reasonable Doubt or Wu Tang album or whoever. And of course, you can't say the GOAT conversation without mentioning Eminem. You know, I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but
Oh yes, can we talk about that?
yeah, Eminem is
Is he on
definitely.
is he top five? No, he's not in Mount Rushmore.
He's definitely a top 10 rapper. I would say,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, might want to hate on, but that's my point. Eminem got the sales and he's actually a dope lyricist. I don't think nobody would say Drake.
Relevancy though? Eminem may be relevant though.
No, he's not as relevant right now, but he left his mark. Eminem, he sold the records, he got the lyricism, he's respected as a lyricist. Everybody respect Eminem as a lyricist. Now, whether he's your cup of tea, you know how everybody like be saying, I ain't never been in the car and somebody said throw that Eminem on. That might be true. You had so you from the Midwest area.
Yeah,
So
probably because I'm from But I
yes.
mean, but let's not front on Eminem.
Nah, you can't front on him.
Like we was not putting his tracks on our mixtapes, our birth CDs back in the day.
Yeah, you probably wasn't, but hey, like I said,
No, we were.
I
No, like for real. Like you definitely had Marshall on a blank CD. Eminem in the 2000.
Yeah, that 2000. That's a
Yeah.
classic. That's a classic album. His second, the Marshall Mathers LP is a classic. It was a great album. You know.
People was putting that with the bone on like I remember people burning CDs with those songs. You know what I'm saying? Like, across, and I was in Chicago.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, I think what it is that black people became so much more woke, and it was like, well, who's this white? You started looking at white people different, like, oh, who's this white guy who think he comes to our culture? But that was something I feel like that kind of came as we became more woke in the culture and stopped. I don't know. He just started becoming just. I think Eminem out off the mic just started doing a lot more stuff, but that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, that's true.
But
yeah, that's true. Like I said, I would give Eminem the GOAT crown before I give it to Drake. I mean, I'm just saying, if I was to say who's the GOAT over them two, I'm saying Eminem all day. Over.
Oh
Drake.
wow. Okay, so that is a moment of pause for the people, a prompt for everybody to let us know if you think that Eminem deserves the GOAT title over Drake. That is a wild take, I want to say, but maybe not.
I would say because both of them are probably the top two selling hip hop artists of all time. Maybe I think Tupac is in there, Jay-Z, Kanye, in there, and those guys in there, Lil Wayne. But Eminem got the numbers. He's
up there, yeah. He's up there.
He's up there,
and he's a great rapper too.
Yeah, he's not my GOAT, but I'm just saying if I had to pick Drake, I'm picking Eminem all day. Like Eminem, like dude can spit, man.
I don't know because I think that on a playlist of all Eminem songs versus a playlist of all Drake songs, I think Drake has a longer playlist.
Yeah. Now Drake got some hits. He got some hits. He know how to make the radio. He got more, I would think, mainstream party hits. I listen to Drake. I like Drake personally. I think he has some bangers, man. As far as like something to ride out to.
Yeah.
Other than that, ain't much substance to him. Ain't much substance.
No, it's not. I will say that it's not much substance. But when it comes to Eminem, then you talk about wordplay, you talk about delivery, you talk about flow, you talking about wit. You know what I mean? Creativity. So yeah, I think that from a skill perspective, like absolutely, Eminem is well above. Eminem is a skillful rapper. Period.
Yeah, he is. He definitely is.
So can never front on that.
Nah, can't take that from him. He's nice now.
No, very nice. Very nice. But when it comes to catalog relevancy, that's where the conversation comes from.
Right.
Of like, what is the GOAT? title based on? Is it based on skill? Is it based on hits? A lot of people will say the GOAT status is based on hits, which may not, is it? And what's a hit? Is it based on record sales? Because I think it's based on, as a DJ, I will say, I think a hit is based on the reaction that people get when you hear a record.
I agree with that.
When you turn on a record,
I
like you
agree with that.
see it in a crowd, you see how people respond to
Right.
a record that makes it a hit.
Right.
I think that's why people say Drake might be in that category.
But like I said, to me, what makes a GOAT is impact.
Impact.
But
But that
yeah,
is impact.
for the moment. That's what I think. Impact for the moment, but 10 years
Yeah.
now, 20 years now, like I said with Tupac got shit, man, that people are still playing. Nas, Jay-Z, Kendrick got stuff that he's making right now. He's making a good case for the GOAT conversation too. I ain't gonna lie, man.
Kendrick?
Yeah, Kendrick, yeah, no doubt. Kendrick is making the GOAT, making that GOAT because what, like last year sometime when Billboard released the male uh greatest rappers of all time, they had Kendrick at number 2. And this was before the beef and before, all this. So Kendrick be making them lists, and they had Jay-Z was number 1. I think Nas was number 3. And Pop, either Nas or Pop was 3 and 4. I think I can't forget who was 3 and 4, but I know both of them was in the top 5. And I think Eminem was number 5, if I'm not one of them. I think Biggie was outside the top 5. I think Biggie was like number 6. But yeah, Kendrick is making that gold conversation. He's tightening in with what he's doing. I would have to give it to him. And he don't have the sales. He don't have the sales as a Drake or Eminem or them. He don't have the records either. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I think it's more to it than just sales. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's the case, how's Kendrick making this case? But he has the catalog, he has the body of work and the impact. That's what
Yeah, we need to know. We need to hear from
yeah.
our
We take it in
listeners.
comments. Who's your
What do y'all? Well, first, what's the definition of a GOAT? What do you base that definition on?
exactly? Well, and speaking of, far as the GOAT, people, the GOAT, the whole GOAT thing, if you're not familiar with the term GOAT, it means greatest of all time. It actually was coined by Muhammad Ali back in, I think, the 60s or the 70s. But what really made it a hip hop term is when LL Cool J uh, said it and named his 2000 album GOAT. So that's when everybody started running with it. Like, so shout out to LL Cool J for bringing it to like the mainstream urban term. Now it's a term within itself. Like, GOAT, the acronym and stuff like that. So shout out to LL Cool J, shout out to Muhammad Ali. Because LL named his 2000 album GOAT. So that's when everybody started running with it. That's what he called himself. So that's where the term originally comes from. But the definition, what is your definition of GOAT? Let us know in the comments or, what have you. What do you deem as a GOAT? What qualifies you as a GOAT? What disqualifies you? Do you think we right or wrong? And like some people might say Rakim is the GOAT. As far as rapper is concerned, he don't have the album sales. He don't have as many hits as the long, so it's all subjective.
The impact that Rakim had on the culture. To your point,
Exactly.
music that lives on. And so people gonna kill me in the comments because oh, she a Drake stan. I'm not a Drake stan. I just have a very, possibly. Maybe I like that term because, and it's crazy because I probably would have never caped for Drake until the Kendrick Lamar, but I just felt like Drake was just getting beat down so much.
Yeah.
I'm like, he needs some help.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't forget about what he did for hip hop.
Like I said, the GOAT conversation is a great conversation. I just think, I think we obsess over it too much in hip hop.
Mhm.
I think it's good though. I like the conversation. I like to have these talks about who's the GOAT, who's the greatest of all time. So,
Tell me that's not fun.
yeah, it's fun. It's fun to do. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to debate. This is not really a debate, a GOAT debate conversation right now. But it's just like I said, like why do we seem to obsess over it? Like why do we need to have that conversation? And is it a good thing or a bad thing? Does it hurt the art form of hip hop? Do we pay too much attention to?
Yeah. I also think it stems from this idea of hip hop, again, of being braggadocious, and maybe some of that, not to get too deep, might be rooted in just, again, hip hop's underlying essence of insecurity. We're always trying to prove something that, in our community and just trying to get the validation amongst our peers. I think that's just a cultural thing as well that tends to seep into hip hop. If you think about like the history of like the gold chains and like all of just, you know, just again braggadocious, flashy type things. It's like you also don't find that in other cultures, right? Like you don't find other cultures obsessing over cars, jewelry, you know, and clothes. Like they're not doing all that in country. Like
Right,
it's you
exactly.
know, there's not. But in hip hop, we tend to obsess over this idea of validation. And I think that is, you know, not to make it too deep for the intro, but that is a conversation that we should also have. It's like, why do we feel the need to be so validated by others, you know, as a people, as a community? Again, I just think hip hop is representative of that in a way. But I like the competitive nature. So
Yeah. The
all
competitive
of that
nature.
other stuff aside, like
So you like the whole sport of it. You don't
yeah,
mind it. You love the
yeah,
GOAT. No,
yeah,
you love everything
yeah.
about it. I agree
I
with that.
welcome it. I welcome it. It challenges me to go back and listen to other artists. I think it challenges me to listen with objective ears and to really like really look at it's a like study. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, I
studying
agree with that.
the genre. I think you can't do that without crowning the best.
That's true. Who's your GOAT female artist? Who you got?
Yeah, because that Billboard 25 list was bugging. They had Doechii at like 23 or something. I was like, what are we even? All right. The greatest of all time female artist, I'm going to say Roxanne Shante to me.
Oh, that's what's up.
She was the one who authentically paved the way for all these women. Like, to me, like her story, how she, you know, battled in the projects in Queens, like,
Yeah.
what? And
Yeah.
she was doing this at 14, 15 years. Like
Yeah.
she was killing it.
She was
Killing
killing it.
freestyles. Yeah, killing freestyles. So that's what I would say. Like her impact, you know, a lot of people don't really understand or realize that. But like when you think about how she used to spit, like she was cold. Like she was
Yeah.
Nicki before Nicki, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, was out. So I can't say Queen because I don't think Queen, she had a pen, but she wasn't, I don't, yeah. Like the confidence that Roxanne had, like no. That's me.
That's a good one. I wasn't expecting that answer. I ain't gonna lie. You know, I thought you were gonna
I
say
mean,
Kim or Nikki.
but
One of
see,
them.
Kim wasn't. I mean, so Kim wasn't right. They was all in. So you can't talk about Nicki without talking about Kim, right? Like, and that's what I'm talking about: legacy and impact. Like the braggadocious female, you saw that in Roxanne. Like that confident female that's gonna go up against the guys. You saw that in her, and it's like you saw that from her from a little age. It's like when Nas was writing like Illmatic. It's like these are kids, you know what I'm saying, that
Yeah.
are doing these things. These are not adults. Like these are 14, 15 year olds that you don't find today that's really spitting like that. And that's coming and battling adults. I think that's for me what did it. And like I said, with Kim, she wasn't really writing everything, you know what I'm saying? She had help or whatever. But Roxanne was the truth.
Yeah.
I think even if she decided to spit today, she'd still be cold. Like she would obviously her sound would adapt to the times, but her pen was crazy.
I agree. I agree with that. That's a good choice. I think if I had to pick one, that's a tough one. Nikki, she kind of like similar to Drake to me. They both, you know, from the same camp. They got the sales, they got the numbers, but you know, I don't think. I mean, I know a lot of people think Nikki is a great rapper. I think she's good, but I wouldn't put her as a the best lyricist or best rapper in that context. So I would think I'll go with Lauren. I think I'll go with Lauren Hill or Missy, like probably the you know the number one, the GOAT female rapper of all time, and Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah definitely did her thing, but I think it was a great list overall. They had Lady of Rage on it. They had Rhapsody. Remy Ma, Foxy Brown, of course, Lil Kim DeBrat, Cardi was on there. I think Cardi came in at number 11.
Do you think that they just put all the female rappers that have been out on this list? Like,
Pretty much.
to me, it seems like they just decided to just put a list of all. I mean,
Like
I
how
don't
many?
know.
Like just think of
Wait,
25.
was Jean Grey on this list?
I don't think so. I don't think Jean Grey was on there.
Have we talked about it?
Yeah, that's a good. I don't think she was. I know Salt and Pepper was on there. Yeah, I don't think she was.
Did they even have Roxanne Shante on there?
Yeah, she came in at number 8. Yeah,
Okay, bet. Yeah,
Roxanne
they
Shante
should
was
have.
on there. It was a
Yeah,
game.
she was on eight.
Yeah,
They put MC Light definitely
MC
deserved.
Light. Oh yeah, you definitely gotta get MC
Yeah,
Light.
MC Light was nice. She's nice too, for sure. Yeah, she got that because she was good.
Yeah. So it's a lot of dope.
But I think they based it on popularity, to be honest with you.
Yeah, somebody said that like if it was based on popularity, then half of these people wouldn't be on there. But you get what they trying to say. Nicki Minaj is the most, and she's a top selling hip hop artist, female hip hop artist of all time. So you know,
She is like Drake, but she's like hip hop. But I mean, Nicki Minaj can spit too at the same time. But the music that she makes is very pop.
yeah,
Just
exactly. Very
bubblegum
commercial.
type. Yeah,
Very commercial.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I'm going through the list. Yeah, I got my girl Eve on there, Rough Riders. I think she came in at like number 9. So
yeah,
yeah,
rightfully so. But I respect E too because she was pushing her own pen.
oh yeah, she was, and
Yeah,
she was battling against them
she
dudes.
was cold.
Rough Riders, had a
Yeah,
battle and stuff. So yeah, he was cold. She kept her lyrics. She stayed true to herself. She never came too sexualized. She never came, she was that
I
pit
mean,
bull girl.
yeah, Pitbull was good. He was, I think he was a little sexualized.
She was a little bit, yeah.
But not overly though. I
Oh,
think
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
you
Not
know what I'm
over
saying, not the Kim, not the what I'm saying.
Foxy and
Yeah,
Trina
she
and stuff.
wasn't that. Yeah. Was Trina on there? Hold on, I'm
Yeah,
about to go back to the list. Trina
yeah.
was on there
Trina, I
too.
think Trina came in at number 13, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken.
Yeah.
Trina
It's
got
a couple. Yeah, for sure. Right, exactly. These when I think about like legendary hip hop, like women rappers, like I'm thinking, yeah, the Brad, Trina,
yeah,
Kim, Fox, like, yeah.
all of them.
But Nikki got to be on there too.
Of
You know
course,
what I'm
of course.
saying? Nikki got to be on there too because she just had an impact.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm not mad at her being number 1 though.
I don't even like Nikki like that,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I went for the number 1, but I ain't mad at it. Nikki is dope.
yeah.
She done a thing. She can spit. I think she better than Drake though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because like
She
Nicki
better rap
Minaj is
than
actually
Drake.
a rapper. Like, yeah, I
Yeah,
think she's like she raps, and she been rapping for a minute too. Like,
yeah,
y'all know the story, but
yeah. Shout out to Nikki. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
but
Last time I'm trying to think about that Billboard article.
yeah, that came out. Yeah, the Billboard top 25 hip hop female rappers of all time, the greatest of them all. And like I said, basically what we were just saying, far as like the GOAT conversation, Lil Wayne, I heard he's dropping the Carter 6 on June 6th, which would be the last installment of the Carter series. So, I'm looking forward to that. We definitely got to talk about that. Lil Wayne, and some people might have say Lil Wayne is the GOAT, He make a good case. He make a compelling case. He has everything. I think he has the impact. A lot of rappers want to sound and look like Wayne. He has the album sales. He's a nice rap. He's a dope rapper. He's a great lyricist. So, I can't be mad at nobody that say Wayne.
Nah, people
Kanye.
been fronting on Wayne too recently
Yeah,
because of the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
Kendrick Drake thing. Like, why we sit here acting like what?
Yeah,
It
Wayne.
is kids.
Yeah, Wayne had a crazy run. So let's see
Yeah.
what he's gonna do.
Shout out to him because I heard he did great in Dreamville too.
Oh, yeah, Dreamville.
I
Yeah,
heard he
yeah, yeah,
was. I
yeah.
heard he did a phenomenal set out there. So shout out to him.
Yeah,
Cashman.
shout out to Wayne. Shout out to Wayne. Yeah, but yeah, that's what else? Do you have anything else you want to add to the conversation?
Nah,
We
I think this is a
like
good
wrap.
discussion. Yeah, no, I think this is a good discussion, good topic, to explore. Like I said, if you, think about it a little bit too deep, you can definitely get into like the history of hip hop and just Black culture in general to get a feel for why we are the way that we are, set up as people. Again, I personally enjoy the sparring, the competition. It makes for good conversation like this. But I do agree it's different than other.
Different other genres, and that's what, like you said, that's what hip hop was based on. It was built on competitive competition. We never gonna get away from it. We always gonna talk about who's the best, who's the GOAT, who's the greatest. That's just hip hop. So you got to love it. That's pretty much what it is. Hip hop is. I just don't want that to take away from the culture, take away from the good music that's out here. People arguing back and forth about who's the GOAT, and you don't have to demean somebody else to lift up the other guy. That's when it turns into that. Like, oh man, like you said, they start fronting on Lil Wayne. Like, what? Like, you ain't got to
Right,
front on Lil Wayne to give Kendrick some credit or Jay
right.
or vice versa. Like, that's what I'm saying.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to get lost in that. I think we get so caught up into it that we start to just disrespecting hip hop
Right.
artists. So all of them deserve their respect. Scarface, Ice Cube, all these guys. Some of the greatest hip hop lyricists of all times. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my take on that. Don't pay too much. Don't just don't obsess over this shit. Just enjoy the music. You know, have your GOAT debate, but don't just, don't get wrapped in it too much that you can't enjoy hip hop, you know. So
Right.
yeah.
No, I agree. I agree. That's a great way to kind of end the segment about the GOAT status. I think we can talk about this all day.
Yeah,
Kind of go
exactly.
through our Mount Rushmore. We need to have an episode where we go through like
Yeah, we definitely gotta have that Mount Rushmore.
the Mount Rushmore of hip hop because that's a conversation to have.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun. And I want to say, if I was to do a Mount Rushmore hip hop, I would say you can't name Biggie, Pop, and Jay.
What?
Yeah, you can't name Biggie,
Why?
Pop, Oz, and Jay. Because everybody has them in their top four. You can't. That to me, that's cheating. Besides Biggie, Nas, Jay, and who else I said? Big Nas, Jay, and Tupac. Without naming them four, who's your Mount Rushmore? So we'll leave that for another See, you see how now you got to think about it. Now you got to think.
Websites for that.
Exactly. So I think people do use the cheat code. Always name them four.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, it's 9, 10 people, 8 people gonna have one or two of them probably in their top four in their Mount Rushmore. So
but I got some other ones though.
yeah. It makes you think, like show some other guys some love. So that'll be a great conversation for another day. So yeah, we'll definitely touch on that and discuss that on another video. But yeah, to close it out, any other music you've been listening to lately? Anything you've been vibing with?
Man, Boldy James have put out a remix to one of his records I've listened to. I need to pull it up real quick. But who have I been listening to? I would say since our last conversation, a review of Illmatic, I have been listening to that non-stop. I'm not gonna lie. That has been in rotation. It just there's
It's Illmatic, baby. It's Illmatic. Yeah.
also Wu-Tang. So Method Man and Mathematics, like that was kind of going through the new music release this past week. They released a new song called Warrior 2 Cooley High, which I love. I love that.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, it's fire. It's produced by Mathematics and it got Method Man and it got Benny the Butcher on there too.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a nice spin. But yeah, I've just been keeping it classic, I think.
All right, listen to the old school. I've been listening to that Jim Jones album. That he released, I believe, like late last month. Yeah, it's pretty dope.
I saw it, but I didn't even. Yeah.
Yeah, you ain't give it a listen. Yeah, you get. Yeah, Jim Jones be spitting, man. I like Jim Jones. I like Jim Jones. It's a pretty dope project. Will Smith released the project too.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago. Shout out to Will Smith. He's still putting in that work on the hip hop side. He don't need to. He's a movie star, but he still comes back to where it all started for him. So yeah, he was rapping on it. Yeah, I actually listened to some. I ain't finished it. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't listen to all of it, but he from what I heard, he was rapping on it. Rapping on a few songs. So yeah. Shout out to Will. He been doing some freestyles online too. So Will been spitting, man. So yeah, and I've been listening to some AZ, Nas. I've been listening to that Most Del Black on Both Sides, the classic. Yeah, that's pretty much what I've been listening to lately. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I've been listening to. That's what's been on the playlist for me, and everything. But yeah, I guess we could, wrap up the episode. We had discussed, the reason why or why do we obsess over this GOAT conversation so much. So I think we had a nice productive conversation surrounding it. Just let us know what you think in the comment section. And we'll get back at you guys next week for another episode. And we'll catch you guys later.
Yes, sir. Peace out, y'all.
All right. Peace.